with Paul Porter, talking Lightning, Bucks, Rays, USF, and a whole lot more. Your calls and prize giveaways. Join us this Saturday and every Saturday morning for the home team, 9 to 11 on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
It's now time for Connecting Caregivers with author, speaker, caregiver advocate, and talk show host Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for caregivers.
Caregivers around the world today, it's time to lift you up. It's time to celebrate. Good afternoon and welcome to Connecting Caregivers Radio with me, Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers with love, laughter, and lessons learned on the show where you can find help and hope. And with me, as always, is my best friend, my co-host, and my sidekick, not psychic, Lynn Thornley.
Good afternoon. Lovely day we're having.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Sorry to tell you, Canadians, they are under snow.
I can't.
Susie told me it's up to her armpits in the backyard.
That's what Jen says she's like done.
Well, she's short. My friend Susie's 5'11".
It's up to her armpit.
Yeah.
Sounds very scary. I know everybody from Michigan, Pennsylvania, Maine, my sister, they sent me all these pictures. I'm like, very pretty.
Well, we're only going to hit the low 70s today.
You can't even say that to them.
I know.
It's kind of like insulting.
I can.
I don't know. Yeah, you can. And on the boards, as always, we have our buddy Ed. How you doing, Ed?
I would like to remind everybody, yes, they are all snowbirds are down here.
Yeah.
They are driving slow in the left-hand lane with their left blinker on, in case you haven't seen them.
I thought the blinkers were optional. You never know. I had a friend that was down this past weekend visiting, and the traffic was making him crazy. He's like calm about everything, but as soon as he got behind the wheel, speed bumps and so slow. And that person is I don't know, some words he was saying, because they went in front of me and went slow on purpose.
But he's in Florida on the other coast, isn't he?
Yeah, but I guess he doesn't.
Younger people
probably,
there?
Probably complains when he's there too.
Oh, maybe, but no one's there to listen.
But anyway, the first thing I want to do is I want to give a shout out to our newest listeners. We have Selma in Clearwater, we have Phyllis in Largo, and we have Janina in St. Pete.
Welcome, ladies.
And like I always say, there's plenty of room around the Connecting Caregivers table for more listeners, whether you listen when we're live on AM/FM, or YouTube, or Facebook, or my website. We're just here to help you out. I know your caregiving journey is not simple. But I always say your caregiving journey can be the most horrific journey of your life, or close to beautiful, depending on how you handle it. And a lot of it is knowing that you're not alone. A lot of it is learning about resources. A lot of it is just being educated about it. I can't tell you how many times someone comes up to me and says, I wish I knew you when I was.
Yeah, I
wish I knew me when I was.
I know.
I mean, when my mom got ill, we were dealing with stage 4 colon cancer. Well, my mother had dementia too, but I didn't realize it until after she was dead. Because she was a little goofy like me, and we did some chemo stuff, and that makes you like a little goofy. But when I go back and I look at everything now, at one point my mother lived in independent living, and so I used to pick her up every morning at 7 o'clock. I have her for the whole day, and she keeps telling me that somebody's coming in her apartment and messing up her papers. She was in independent living. Nobody's going in there. Yeah. That sacred stack you have next to your phone? And so after like the third day, she was so agitated. I said, all right, Mom, I'm coming upstairs. I park the car, take her up to her apartment. I stand there for a couple minutes. I said, I'll be right back. I go down the hall. I stand there for a few minutes. I come back. I said, I just met that witch out in the hallway. And I told her, if you ever mess with my mother's papers again, you're going to have to answer to me. My mother said, thank you, Linda. Well, it's because my mother had dementia.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. I just didn't want my mother to be agitated.
It's weird, isn't it? You don't, when you look back, you can always tell. I didn't know my husband had it till he started calling the cops on me.
Yeah. But
telling me, I don't know who she is.
Yeah. But really,
you don't know.
You think of some things. But anyway, so today we have two special guests on the phone, on the show. We have family law attorney William Foley, or I want to call you Bill.
Call me Bill.
And we have Dawn Kicker from the YMCA of Tampa, one of my favorite places. So you're a family law attorney. So explain to our listeners what a family law attorney is.
So sure. First of all, thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And thanks for watching and listening. I have been a practicing attorney for almost 18 years. I think I'm at around 18, 19 years. So going on 2 decades of just divorce and family law. So a lot of divorce matters, a lot of family law, which includes paternity, unmarried parties, custody. There's also extended temporary custody by an extended family member. So that obviously falls under the kind of a lot of the purview of this show as well. And some of those different issues of caregivers that are, dealing with different types of custody issues and those types of things. So I've been doing this for almost 2 decades. I love what I do. I have the opportunity to talk to people every day, to try to help them through a pretty tough time in their life.
It's serious. It's emotional. We're dealing with our children, a lot with our children, and that's really important. But, part of me is grateful that children have people that are fighting over them and not have any at all.
Right.
Because I'm sure you see those situations too.
Yep.
Yeah, but sometimes they're fighting over them just because they want to be mean to the other person and don't even want the kid.
Yeah,
and then the dog too. Do they fight over the dogs?
Gotta fight over the dog, I guess. In Florida, though, animals are considered property. So a lot of people come in and they'll ask for custody of the dog, and then I have to explain to them like, I'm really sorry, but the way the courts and the case law looks at it, it's actually property, and that's complicated.
Yeah.
That's
so
tough.
what happens? They just have to disagree or agree, or go into arbitration over the dog.
Yeah, people will, but they won't craft visitate. People will say, "Well, I want to do visitation." I want to have.
Oh, you can't do that.
Yeah, no.
I got an answer to that. You take both litigants in the courtroom, pose from each other, put the dog right in the middle, let him go. See who goes through first.
Good idea.
Love it.
That is a good idea. So you probably see a ton of relationship challenges and everything. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. It's tough going through. It's one of the biggest reasons I think people come to me is for a lack of communication. There's a communication breakdown. Right. There's always the big ones. Adultery, vices. Drinking, alcohol, drug. All that other kind of stuff. But really, a lot of times it's just sometimes people will. They're completely different from the person that they met at the beginning of the relationship. Exactly. So there's that.
Some grow up together. Some grow together, apart.
And some grow way apart.
Yeah.
But the communication through all that is the big component that I see when there's a collapse in that. That's really where things start. They just start living different lives. Right.
Because then nobody knows what anybody wants.
Right.
Now, I went to a lawyer about 15 years ago to ask about, and it was because my husband was on the internet sending money, meeting girls and whatever. That's when he wasn't well, which I didn't really realize. But she told me that since the internet has come into play, that a lot of couples break up over it. Is that true?
Oh, yeah. I mean, people, because they'll develop relationships online with people that they may never meet. There's the whole catfishing issues. Whether this person even exists or if somebody at the end of there's a whole. But yeah, people will send lots and lots of money to different people, and sometimes it is a spouse that finds out about it, and they go, whoa, and it's
she said that brought in a whole bunch of new problems. The internet.
Oh yeah.
So
I told you it's no good.
At least you text now. At least you got a real phone.
I know, but aren't you? Did I just see you went on Instagram?
No, I don't think so. I used to be on Instagram, but what are you doing on Instagram?
No, it came on my text, and then I don't know what it is. It said press this, and I don't press things. So
she, up until a year or so ago, she had a flip phone.
2 years later. And I only got rid of it because it broke.
She gets forced into making changes that she doesn't want to make.
I mean, I get most of my calls on my cell phone now. This is because I have a house phone still. I believe in house phones.
I have a teenage daughter, and I'd like to get her a flip phone. I think that would be good.
They make smart flip phones. They're not quite as smart as these guys, but mine was a smart one. I did not do anything on it, but except it was for answering calls.
You're so funny.
Anyway.
So how do you guide your clients? And there's got to be a lot of compassion in what you're doing.
Right.
Because, me too, one time many years ago, I went to an attorney because I didn't want to get divorced from my husband. I just wanted to scare him. So I did. It worked.
Oh, and the lawyer must have been.
I told the lawyer the truth. I said, I don't want to get divorced from him. I just wanted to scare him.
Yeah.
He sent him some papers, and he got scared enough to do the right thing.
And that happens a lot.
Does it?
It happens a lot. I do refundable retainers. I'm serious, because a lot of attorneys will do non-refundable retainers, and I'm like, I don't know, because those types of things happen. They'll reconcile, and I'll tell them out, and I'll tell them sometimes if you guys reconcile.
Yeah, you have enough broken up people. It's okay.
And they're like, oh, we're not going to reconcile. And then, like a couple months later, like, well, after you served him, we got to talk.
We started to talk.
Yeah, we talked. We're communicating.
Yes.
Went to therapy.
I didn't know there was a problem.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that comes up a lot.
Yeah, but I'm sure you got a lot of people that are like crying their hearts out.
Yeah. So that's
a tough job.
big part of the job is kind of listening and just trying to be there for them, kind of get them from one side of the process to the other. Like it's miserable for them. Like I understand that. Like I very specifically at the beginning of my career said, I'm going to stick with this because I enjoy what I'm doing, even though it's tough, because there's that component of I get to do the litigation, I get to go to court, but I also get to talk to people. I get to connect with people. I get to help them through it. And I realized that earlier on in my career, but I also realized how tough it is, and, constantly kind of helping to try to talk people off of a ledge to a certain extent.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Right.
So do you do a lot of mediation?
Yes.
Now, when somebody comes in, do you say to them, would you like to do mediation first before we jump to divorce?
Yeah, the way I structure my firm, there's two attorneys. Okay. I do all the litigation. Basically, I focus on the litigation track of going straight to the judge. My other associate in the firm, Rosetta, she's amazing. She's been a practicing attorney for 25 years, and she deals with a lot of the settlement side of stuff. So if I, during the consultation, look at it and say, I really think there's a really good opportunity here to try to settle it, let's go to Rosetta and let's have Rosetta try to see if she can, aggressively try to get to a resolution first before we kind of get embroiled in all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Because the judges know it's 10 to 15% of cases really go all the way to a trial. Most cases, 85% of cases settle at some point.
Yeah. Well, you get tired of fighting too.
Right.
I think. And what good is it for you, for the kids, for anybody?
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about the kids. Do you have a lot of custody battles?
Yeah. I mean, some of the tougher ones that I've had over the years, especially have to do with relocation. Relocation is tough. Is tricky because you're going from, where both parents are either in the home together and seeing the children every day, to now somebody's going to be on the other side of sometimes the world or the United States. Right. And there's really no easy way to do that. So those cases are always extremely contested. And then there's really complicated cases when there's issues with, again, the big ones, like different types of abuse, alcohol, and all the vices.
Well, how much say do the kids have?
Not much.
They don't.
To what age?
No.
Like once the age where they
Until
say
they're 18.
Oh, I thought the
was
judge.
like 12 or
I thought the judge called them in and had a little chat with them. No,
that's kind of a misnomer. I don't know if it's like movies that kind of.
It is. That's where I saw it.
I don't know if that was in. What was the one with Robin Williams?
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Miss Doubtfire. I don't know if there's an understanding that, like, a lot of times people ask, like, isn't it 14 they get to speak? And I'm like, no, that's not really. I've had judges at 17 and a half years old say, I'm not listening to them because then it gives them that weight on them. Now they've made the decision. So when they're 36 and they look back and they say,
oh, makes sense.
I chose.
Yeah, maybe
I made that choice.
Mom was just playing dad.
Right.
Oh.
So the judges say, we got to keep them out of that for that part of it. Leave it to the parents who are adults. And if they can't figure it out, then the judge will do it. But they try to keep they will speak to the kids if there's abuse, if there's stuff like that. Then that's sometimes when there's situations. But
hopefully,
as far as like, put them in a room and say, choose which one, they ain't gonna do it.
Well, they
not like the dog. The dog, maybe. I love that idea though.
Yeah,
let's see which one Fido goes to.
They'll listen to what they say though, right? No.
I mean, so
it kind of seems unfair.
So in Florida, they have what's called a guardian ad litem.
Yeah.
So a guardian ad litem is appointed in a lot of cases, right, and they do speak to the children and they do get more of an understanding of it, but it's more in concert with the law and the factors and all that, rather than just like, which one do you want? Where do you want to live? But the judges, they stay very far away from asking those types of questions of the kids.
But when Rosetta does those mediations, how do they work? What's your numbers like? Does 50% people mediate?
100% of people mediate. I mean, either you settle before the case even starts, and we get a lot of those. They'll settle before we even file the case, and then before it gets to a judge, 100% of those cases have to try to settle, have to go to a mediation. The judges will not hear it. They're basically saying, no, we don't want to hear all the baloney. Right. We're not going to deal with this. We got 3,000 cases. We're not going to deal with this and potentially make, maybe a mistake, especially if you're dealing with custody. Because sometimes people are better talkers or better salesmen. There's all different things that can come up that the judges are like, let's be careful. Let's see if they can decide it first, and then we'll take over if we need to. Well, I think sometimes they just need someone to listen to them. Right. Once they start talking a little bit and they get down to brass tacks, they can say, okay, I can deal with that, or I can accept that, or we can work this out. Do you find like a lot of kids are going back and forth from one house to the other? Because you see that, and you see a lot of that in the movies too. Right. 1 week with dad, 1 week with mom. Do you see a lot of that? Well, Florida is now, as of July 2023, it was signed into law that Florida is now the presumption, the starting point for all custody and time sharing is 50-50. So it's equal to start. Now, if there's those situations where it needs to be modified based upon all those other different types of complicated circumstances, that's different. But the vast majority of cases start with 50-50, and most of them are kind of ending with 50-50. And that is a lot of back and forth. That's a big divergence from what it historically used to be, that there was like a majority parent and then an every other weekend parent. And that's what it was for a very long time. So the law has changed, and it is kind of upended a lot of situations, and it's made it more complicated, especially for very young children. My nephew just got divorced. He has a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old. Yeah, it's tough. And they're doing 1 weekend, like one parent has them Monday, Tuesday, the other one has them Wednesday, Thursday, and then every other weekend they switch up. And I've seen for the kids, it was a big adjustment. It's tough. Right. It's really tough. And then, but they went down to, in their agreement, to say, you can't have any dates in your house unless you talk to me, or at a certain point. You can't do, if you want to call a babysitter, I get first dibs. Yeah. Right of first refusal. Yep. Interesting. Yep. Do you see a lot of that? Oh, yeah. Right of first refusal is in a lot of them, because basically saying that the parents are the paramount ones. It's going to be either one of them. And if one of them can't exercise the time, then, then you see if the other person can before you go to a third person. So that's where kind of the extended family situations kind of come in, where it gets dicey and it gets complicated. So that's the right of first refusal. Do you see troubles for grandparents? Yeah, because Florida doesn't have a lot of rights for grandparents, from that perspective. So it gets tricky. It's just those extended family cases, or, I've done a lot of temporary custody cases, for grandparents that, maybe the kids, especially for the really young, the much younger kids that are not able to, young kids that are now parents are not able, and ready at that point, failure to launch, to be able to do it. So we definitely seen a lot of those situations, but yeah, it's. But you can't move across the country if you're going to be switching your kids back on every other day. No, I mean, and that's where the relocation ones get really complicated, because there's that idea of like, okay, now court, Florida's looking at, the presumption there 50-50, but these big decisions that parents have to make. Right. And they have to decide that, because I'm not going to move across the country for my kid. And I guess that's those decisions. And there are some people that are probably closer to their kids than other people. Right. And there are some people that get divorced and they just go start a new family. So I don't know. It's got to be a very touchy situation. Oh, yeah. And we've had situations where it's very, very contested, during the initial phase of it. And then maybe when the kind of the dust settles, and if somebody's looking for like a relocation or something, maybe then at that point they're like, oh, okay, well, I think we can work this out. Let's, the summers, the holidays, stuff like that. And they're able to work it out after they can kind of breathe and recenter themselves after the chaos. Yeah. So what's the most important thing you think our caregivers need to hear from you today? These issues that I deal with, are tough, and the issues that they're dealing with are tough. And, it's, if they're dealing with that together, like if they themselves as a caregiver are having to deal with a family law related issue as well, they need to have a village with them. That's why, shows like this and these types of villages are important, because they need to be able to reach out to people, because it's a complicated process. It's emotional, it's time consuming, it's expensive. There's all these different things that they need to be able to really be able to lean on somebody as they're going through it.
And where can our listeners find you?
So my website is wfoleylaw.com. I also have a YouTube channel, Foley Family Law. I have about 200 videos on there, with about 2 million views on the videos. So a lot of information, that they can go on and get information about family law, divorce, and other information in that realm.
And your phone number?
813-272-2345.
And what if somebody's just thinking about getting a divorce? Can you just the one person come and talk to you first?
Oh yeah. So we can only really represent one party anyway. So they can call, set up a consultation. We go through the different, we've done that a lot. I've probably done 5,000 consultations over the years of just, sometimes it's just getting a little bit of information, and trying to figure out, is this the direction I want to go?
Because the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
It is not. It is not. So I try to be honest of okay, this is where this is going to go. And if you decide to go this way, we can help you do that. We can do that for you.
So they can't have the same attorney?
No, the parties cannot share attorneys.
Is that universal, or is that just here?
I don't know. Just Florida has been very clear about that. It's because you can't effectively advocate for another.
Yeah, I don't feel you can.
So that's my job as an advocate. I think being a judge is excruciatingly tougher, because you got to make that decision. For me, my clients choose me and I choose them, but still I'm an advocate for them. So when they come to now I advocate for them, and I try to advance their cause and, discuss with them about what makes sense based upon my experience, what the law says, and then advocate for them in front of the judge. I don't have to make the decision though. Either they do or the judge does.
Right. You can sleep a little better at night.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate you. I love making new friends.
Yeah.
But right now we have to hear from our wonderful partners, because you know the deal. If you don't hear from them, you don't hear from me. So don't go away. We'll be right back on Connecting Caregivers Radio.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Choosing the right chiropractor is an important choice to make. Located in Seminole, the Alexander Spine Center team is trained on the latest chiropractic treatments and technologies. At Alexander Spine Center, you'll find chiropractic and physical therapy care that is safe, effective, and a natural approach to pain and other health-related issues. Chiropractic unlocks your body's potential and natural healing process to ensure your life is a healthy life. We treat clients from the womb to the tomb. Call 727-397-3000 for a free consultation today, or visit our website at www.alexanderspinecenter.com.
They take good care of me twice a week, so check them out.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help, because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
We believe the power of the human body and mind can do amazing things, and that tapping into that power, not just tricking it with a temporary disguise, is possible. Superpatch technology uses a special pattern and vibrotactile technology to help you go from feeling blah to hurrah. Now, once the Superpatch is in contact with your skin, it triggers a neutral response in the brainstem that helps you tackle your daily problems head on. Whether you're struggling with pain, balance, stress, or focus, we have a solution that might be right for you. With Superpatch's 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Hi, this is Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers. I started using the Liberty Patch over 3 years ago. I used to be a tripper, but since wearing a Liberty Patch, I haven't tripped once. The Liberty Patch is proven to reduce the risk of falling by up to 8 times. And as we all know, if you prevent the fall, you prevent the call. Don't wait until it's too late. Preventative solutions are the answer.
Super Patch does not claim to diagnose, treat, or cure illness. Super Patch is FDA registered. To receive 25% off your first order, go to sticktoit.info. That's sticktoit.info and learn more.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
And we are back. And now we're going to talk to Dawn from the YMCA. Does everybody just want to sing that song? Because you know that's what I want to do.
And you got to do the dance with it.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, it's very interesting. So we met through the Fall Prevention Coalition, which I think is a fabulous thing, and which we're going to talk about because falls scare me. Falls scare me. I just had my bathroom done over. I had the tub taken out. I got the walk-in. I got the highest toilet there is, the bidet, nice grab bars everywhere. Because like you, I can't be out talking about fall prevention, and I'm the girl who falls in the tub.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You have to be prepared. And
It's
have your mind
scary.
prepared.
So let's talk a little bit about it. Let's talk about some of the stats.
Mm-hmm. So what we know is that 1 in 4 Americans 65 and above are going to fall each year. So essentially like 25%.
Something to look forward to, Lenny.
Of those over the age of 65 are going to fall. And that falls are the leading cause of fatal and non-fatal injuries among adults. Right. So, we have to start looking out for how can we prevent this for ourselves and for our loved ones.
And we want to prevent it by taking action, not by sitting in the recliner.
Exactly.
Because I find that's what happens. They're so afraid that they're going to fall that they don't get out of the chair.
Mm-hmm.
That they start doing less and less. And now you're just lining yourself up for the fall.
Right, because now your muscles are weaker and your balance hasn't been practiced as much. And you're just setting yourself up to not be able to be as sturdy on your feet when you do need to be, because you still need to use the restroom. You still need to get some food and things like that. So the more that you can be mobile, the better off you can be.
All right, so that means I go to Curves 3 mornings a week, the old ladies gym. That's a good thing, right?
That's a great thing.
We want to do that. We want to move. We want to walk. And I tell people, even if you're sitting in front of a television, you could do hand weights. I used to trick myself, make a joke that when the commercials came on, I had to do hand weights, or else I wasn't allowed to watch the show. Like in my own game in my head or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it works.
Yeah.
It works. And I think we need to build all this stuff into our daily lives. And as we get older, we may even have to do a little bit more than we did when we were younger.
It's unfortunate, but it is true. We have to make sure that we're being intentional, right? We can't just, when you have less to do, you have to be more intentional about what you do. And so to your point, there are a lot of things that you can do just when you're sitting at home and watching TV, right? Yep. We can sit and stand multiple times, do chair stands, and that's going to strengthen your legs. You can do toe taps and toe raises, which that's going to be one of the best things you can do, is to strengthen the front of your lower leg.
So just toe tap and toe raise.
Mm-hmm, because when you strengthen right here, you're going to teach your feet to lift your toes. And what do a lot of us do as we get older?
Yeah.
We shuffle. Yeah. We're not lifting our toes. And so, just think about it. You're sitting, watching TV, just lift your toes and practice that. It's simple.
Okay, we have a new thing to add to our...
Well, I'm telling you, the best thing ever is my friend Linda. She bought me a Fitbit. It's kind of a love-hate thing because I'll look at it and I'll go, no. And it makes me get up. I walk my house. I'm wearing the carpets out. Because I go, and then it would buzz on your arm and go,
get up, move your behind.
Time to stand.
I know. It's so rude, but it really helps.
Yes, it does.
It does. And then it can tell you how many steps you've gotten in the day.
Yeah.
So if you set a personal goal for yourself.
I have that goal.
Right? And
not
then you
the one
look
they
and
want me to have. But
the good part is, at the end of the day, it says, I've burned so many calories.
I know, so you can eat
I go,
more.
damn, I can have a bottle of wine.
But you know what?
It's just about time.
The worst is I hadn't done hardly any. It was raining. I went to the grocery store. I was so excited. I was telling you, I had a lot to get. When you need to buy stuff that you don't often, you don't know where it is. So I was back and forth. I come out. I was in there for 40 minutes. I come out. I look. I've done 25 steps. It doesn't work if you're pushing.
I didn't know that.
Your arm has to be moving.
Yes.
know that either.
So now I do
She
it
was
like
so
this.
yeah.
I was so angry, but I still did them because I didn't want this machine to think I slacked.
It's true. It's a good thing.
Now, don't cheat and sit in your chair and go like this.
No, we've tried every task. No, I believe me, Jen and I have tried every task. It really doesn't work with the swinging in the chair. You gotta walk. Anyway, but no, really, we need to get up. We need to walk. You know, I live in a townhome, and my granddaughter said to me recently, her and her husband, you know, Grandma, you can't live there when you're older. I'm like, what are you talking? They're like, how are you getting up and down the stairs? Like, I'm going to walk up and down the stairs. The stairs keep me alive. And God forbid if it gets bad, you can buy me a scooter chair. Thank you very much. I love you. But really, we need to. I hate to see people hurting themselves because they're scared.
True. Yeah. I mean, if you stop doing things to be safe, that's not necessarily going to help you in the long run. Right. So what we need to do is do what we can and maybe increasing a little bit over time so that we can be able to do the things we want to do. Right. And so the more active you can be now, the more active you can be later, no matter where now is for you. The moment you move back on the activity that you're doing is the moment you're taking your starting point from one spot to another, and now it's going to be even harder. So any little thing you can do, like I said, I mean, just toe raises, sitting and standing in your chair multiple times.
I bring my groceries in, I do this.
Getting some soup cans, you know, or milk water jugs or something like that, and doing some curls, you know.
But you know, there's a good thing if you can go, like I go to Curves, because we all got silver sneakers. Okay, so you can go to Curves, or you can go to the YMCA, because it's not just the physical movement, it's the social movement too.
That's probably going to be as important, maybe even more important, right? Because now you have a reason to get out. You're going to see those people that you've met. You're going to have the conversations about all the different things that have been going on. And I mean, I know at the Y, if you're not there, if you're usually there and you're not there,
you worry.
One of your friends are going to call you and say, hey, what's going on? You know? And so getting that social side of things is so important, especially when you're not working anymore, right? Because when we're not working, then what? If you're not volunteering.
Well, it's like at Curves, half of the women are widows. You know, and they're 70. Some of them are 80. There's one lady, she's 90. She goes there. She doesn't move too much, but she came. She came, and the good thing about it is, though, like at the class I go in the morning, there's usually about 14 people there. 8 of us, our name is Linda. So it makes it really easy.
That name.
A new girl came in the gym this morning when I was there, and she said, I can't remember your name. I said, any name you can't remember, just say Linda. Because there's enough Lindas here.
It's of an age.
It's definitely a 1950s name.
That's why I became Lynn, because we worked in an office in New York, 3 girls. Linda Butler, Linda Balber, Linda Burham.
Not the last initial, too. when the boss went, Linda, not me.
Talking to you.
It's really. Okay, let's talk a little bit about eyesight and hearing, how that has to intermingle with this, because I don't think people think about that.
Right. So, I mean, let's think about just eyesight, right? If you can't see the cord that's down on the floor, that immediately becomes a fall hazard. Or, you know, sometimes you are someplace and maybe there's a dip in the floor. That actually happened to me the other day, because it was a tile floor and a tile floor. There was nothing there to let you know. And I mean, I didn't fall, but it was definitely a little stumble, right? And so eyesight has a huge impact on how we can move. We've got to be able to see what's happening. And if we don't, then we have to move carefully.
Right.
We need to do things keeping our body strong. You know, when you keep your core, which is your center part area, stronger, you're going to stay upright more, right?
Yeah.
You're less likely to fall. If you're strong in here, you start to fall and you can right yourself. But the moment that you lose some of that strength, you start to fall and you continue to fall.
Yeah.
And so eyesight can definitely impact our chances
and
for
lighting.
fall. Lighting, that's
please.
a big one in your home, especially.
When you walk up my stairs at night, they light up.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I got little, like, one toilet bowl is like a disco. When you walk in the bathroom, it lights up, because, you know, I got my stepmother, my cousin, people come, we're seniors. I don't want anybody falling down.
I think sometimes people forget how much they can control within their home, right? And that's a big way to prevent falls is
scatter rugs.
Area rugs are one of the biggest culprits of causing falls, right? Because you catch the corner and next thing you know, you're down on the ground. And I love my puppy. But pets can be a big fall hazard too.
That's why I never got another one with
they
my
get
husband.
under your feet. And not saying don't get one, because there is that social side of having a pet, right? You've got somebody you're caring for who cares for you. There's a lot of that other stuff. But you do have to be very
I have a
aware.
2-year-old puppy, and I have to be careful. First of all, he's 14 pounds, which is good. I can't lift more than 14 pounds. As a senior, if I'm going to have a dog, I got to be able. I have navy blue carpeting. He's black. So I have to really pay more attention to where I'm walking and what I'm doing.
You have to get new rugs or spray paint them, Lenny.
We'll give him a light up disco necklace or something, Charlie.
Absolutely. But you were talking about lightings. So night lights around your house, and they make some that are motion sensitive.
Yeah,
right?
I got those.
There's all kinds of different lighting that you can have in your house, leaving a little light on in your kitchen so that it can go up in the middle of the night. Things like that it's just so important for people to make sure that the first thing you do is take a look around your house. Do you have a cord running from the wall to your little table, your coffee table, so that the lamp can be plugged in? Well, every time you walk there, that's going to put you at risk. Do you have any areas where there's a change in the level of the floor, or like you were talking about your bathroom? That's such an important area to make sure that
that's where there's a lot of falls.
Let me tell you, one of the biggest things is, if you've ever seen the grab bars that they put into showers sometimes, right? They have the bar.
Yeah.
Make sure that the one that you have is not one of the suction cups.
No suction cups. How stupid. And it says right on the package, this isn't going to stay on the wall.
And why are they selling it?
I don't know the purpose of that exactly, but I cannot tell you how many people
so dangerous.
And if you start to fall and you grab that, relying on it, what's going to happen? You're going to continue your fall. You're going to continue your fall, because that was not made to stop that.
And they have great grab bars now. They have ones that are really long. When I did my bathroom over, if I did fall on the floor, I have a grab bar where I can pull myself up.
But didn't they tell you to get one that wasn't slippery or something?
Yeah.
They put a
some of them are a
coating.
little slippery. You have to be careful too. They're not going to help you. They're going to make you fall.
I mean, we're never going to be 100%, right? There's always going to be that risk for a fall somewhere.
But I'm telling you, if you need grab bars and you feel like you can't afford grab bars, call your local fire department. Because many times they will come out and they will install grab bars free for you. So there's no excuses. I don't want you falling.
And there are some fire departments that will come out and they'll examine your home for you too.
Home assessment.
Exactly, because they want to help prevent getting the phone calls for the falls, right? That's actually part of the fall prevention group that we're a part of, where they're tracking the 911 calls to see how many falls there were.
Well, it's very interesting. So Lori Collins is the head of 911 here, right? So I'm like, I'm being best friends with her, because I want to know what communities get the most calls for falls. And I don't want my people going there, but it's true.
Do you know what they should do, though? The smoke detectors, they should make them for the walls, not the ceiling. And for the reason, I have the pre-wired ones, but it doesn't matter. If the battery goes out, it's going to beep, even though it's wired in. You've got to replace that battery. And I have been on the ladder at 2 a.m. many a time.
Yeah.
Why can't they have them on the walls?
I don't know.
We'll do that. We'll
Oh
patch
my God, here we go. Shark Tank.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
It's always at 2 a.m. too.
Always.
Always. And it doesn't stop.
I had a guest last week when Keith came to visit. I'm in my bedroom. Beep, beep, at 3 o'clock in the morning.
And
I just went downstairs. I ripped it off.
But yours isn't
hardwired.
Hardwired.
Yeah, they are now.
Oh, they are.
When the inspector came.
Oh, because that should mean to me that they give you a little leeway. Like, we're going to beep you, but you got 24 hours before we're going to beep you again.
Yeah.
But no, it doesn't stop. Well, how do you get up there if you live alone?
That's really a good suggestion.
And
I'm
that is
have to ask about that.
Another way to really end up with a fall, right?
Exactly.
If you're on a little step stool or trying to get on a chair or something like that, that's a huge fall risk. So just being very careful about how you move when you're trying to do something like that. And, for somebody who's over 65, if you fall and break a hip, that is really, really dangerous to your health.
Yep. You're
because
probably gonna fall again.
You might fall again, or it might be so hard for you to be able to become mobile again that you now end up with all kinds of other health issues.
My mother was 86 when she broke her hip, and she walked without a cane afterwards, but she'd been active all her life and a golfer.
And she did her work.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had, I love to tell this story about one of our Y members who she fell and she broke her hip. And, but she was a mover and shaker. And this was between Thanksgiving and Christmas, right? So she wanted to be home for Christmas. And the doctor said, she asked the doctor when she could go home. And the doctor said, well, not until you can sit up on your own. So she had her son bring some fabric and stuff and a pulley. And they made this thing so she could pull herself up in the chair and everything, because but it's almost like that's the kind of determination you need to have about your health.
Yeah.
Beforehand.
You know what I mean? You can't just sit around and kind of go, well, hopefully things will be okay. You have to advocate for yourself and you have to really.
And something else I want to say to you, seniors, stop rushing. You're retired. You have no reason to be rushing for the phone, for the door, so I've come to this realization recently. I used to be able to do the shower, the makeup, the whole thing in 15 minutes. It takes me a half hour now. Oh my word.
Right. But you look that good in a half hour, Lenny.
I'm getting so stressed, though. Stressing myself, right? And I got to do it that fast. Why do I have to do it that fast? I don't have to do it that fast.
And think about the phones, right? It used to be the phone was on the wall. And if you missed the phone call, well, who was it that called? Now we know.
Yeah.
It's right there. You
now
just
we don't want to answer most of the time anyway. It's true because it says spam, spam, spam.
So you don't need to rush to that phone ever anymore.
Let me ask you a question. And I just heard this recently. I don't know if it's true. So I go to Curve 3 days a week. The alternate days, could I go to the Y on my silver sneakers?
Yep, you can. You can go to multiple places with your silver sneakers
around here.
I'm Brian Derry.
Who is there?
Barnmore.
Are there YWCA still?
I know of one in Miami, but I don't think we have any in the Bay Area. So,
in Montreal, we used to go to the Y swimming all the time.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure if there's still exercise places so much as more educational and that sort of thing.
All right, so tell me some of the programs that the Y offers for caregivers, because I'm sure they don't know about a lot of them.
Yeah, so we have all kinds of programs, and the programs would be good for the caregivers. They'd be good for the people who are being cared for, right? We have diabetes prevention program. And so if you think about the fact that a third of the adult population is at risk for developing type 2 diabetes, which if you end up with type 2 diabetes, you're much more likely to end up with all kinds of other issues, right? So we want to prevent that. And then we actually have a pedaling for Parkinson's program. So those who have Parkinson's can come to, we have 2 specific locations in Tampa for that. We have blood pressure self-monitoring. If your blood pressure is off, it can cause you to get dizzy, which can cause you to fall, right? So that can help with preventing falls. But we actually also have some specific fall prevention programs. We have one called Healthy Steps for Older Adults, and that's actually a 2-part seminar. So you come out into a classroom setting, and it's about 2.5 hours each time, which sometimes is a little daunting for people. Oh, I'm going to go sit in a class for 2.5 hours. But the amount of information that people come out of that class with is just phenomenal. And we've had chiropractors, physical therapists, all kinds of people who think, oh, I'm not going to learn anything. And they just come in kind of to see. And every single one of them goes, I didn't know that. There's always something. And in this class, we give a lot of community resources. So that's where you get a lot of information, hey, did you know, here's a flyer about this, here's a flyer about this. So we really try to make sure that people in our community get the resources that are in our community in that program. So that's offered throughout the Bay Area at different times. So you would just go to any of the YMCA websites around here, and you would be able to find that. And then we have our program called Enhanced Fitness, which is it's a certified fall prevention and arthritis management program. And that one is an exercise program. So that one you would come out 3 times a week. We always do, in Tampa, we usually do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but they have to be on alternate days. So you can't have 2 days in a row, right? And in that class, it's a 60-minute class. And you're getting everything. So in that class, you're going to get 20 minutes of cardio. You get your warm up, your cool down. You're going to get balance activities specifically. So there will be times where you do like giant step overs so that you're practicing being on one leg, or tiptoe walking or heel walking, all kinds of things like that, specifically working on balance. And then after that, you'll go into strength exercises, and you wear cuff weights. Since it was originally designed for arthritis, they wear cuff weights. So you would use those on your arms during the upper body strength portion, and then you use them on your legs during the lower body strength portion. And then after that, there are some very specific stretches.
And these places are all YMCAs or just yours?
These are at all the YMCAs in Tampa, St. Pete, and like the Clearwater area. Okay. So we call them the Bay Area ones. Okay. Yep. So all 3 of our associations, we work together and we offer that at multiple locations. Yep.
Let's talk about the shoes.
Oh, the shoes. Yes. So we want to make sure that we're wearing appropriate shoes to support your feet. Right? Make sure that if you have a high arch, you've got that high arch going on in the shoe, and that you've got
backless slippers.
Not when you're out and about, right?
No.
You know, and make sure that they're non-skid so that you're not going to slide. I don't know if you guys have ever been, there are a couple restaurants out there that I walk through every now and then, and it's so slippery. How do they not fall in here? Yeah. And I always wondered about that. But just making sure, and then, if your shoes need to be tied, be very cognizant of that. Exactly. Sometimes it's a little easier to have on slip-ons these opposed to having shoes that you have to tie. And you just have
to watch yourself. So I got that. I'm getting older. It's going to be hard for me to bend over and put the leash on him. So I make him jump up on a stool that's by my front door. I go, come on, let's go. Get up, he gets up. So then I only have to bend over halfway.
That's perfect.
But really, because, and another thing I want to plan on, and I think this is something else to think about. So I'm taking all my pots and pans off the floor. I'm going to put them in the pantry where I see the shelf when I come in. Because now I have to get that bacon dish that's down on the second shelf. I have to get on the floor. Mm-hmm. It's hard for me to even lift them out now. And then I got to get back up.
Mm-hmm. My suggestion is stop cooking.
Yeah, I know. But...
Well, and
I don't do it.
There are also, you can probably Google it and things like that, but there are some
modification cabinets and different things.
There's that, yeah. But we also need to practice getting up off the floor.
Yeah.
Because what happens when you do fall?
Yeah.
I also know of a member that, and this was well over a decade, this was probably close to 2 decades ago, but this particular member fell in their backyard and lived alone. And so they were stuck outside overnight in their backyard, unable to get up. So
yeah, my sister fell, and thank God someone went by
8 hours.
And helped her.
Yeah. So while you're mobile, learn the roll over to your side technique.
Watch my video. It's one of my most watched ones.
There you go.
She couldn't do it because her wrist was broken.
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, when something's hurting.
You better go to commercial.
I hear you, boss. It was so wonderful having you here today. Go to your YMCA. Everybody, YMCA always just gives me a good feeling. And now it's time to hear from our wonderful partners, so don't go away. We'll be right back.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
Are you getting older, or are you taking care of somebody who is? You know, getting older creates new problems you probably never imagined. One of the big ones is, how do you pay for care? Care in your home, care in an assisted living facility, or care in a nursing home. Did you know that nursing home care in our community can cost up to $12,000 per month? For the last 33 years, our office has helped families access benefits, including Medicaid, VA, and PACE, to help pay for the cost of long-term care. Regardless of what your assets are or what your income is, you can qualify for these benefits. Proper planning and guidance are absolutely necessary to avoid being wiped out. Let us help. If you are in care or heading in that direction, we can help solve that problem. Take action now to obtain benefits to pay for the cost of care. Here are the 4 things that you need to do. 1, get a new power of attorney. Your old one probably isn't good enough. Get a healthcare surrogate and a living will. 3, get an estate plan that will not disqualify you from benefits. And 4, get a plan to qualify for Medicaid, PACE, or VA benefits to pay for the long-term care costs. Call us today for a free consultation, 727-539-0181, or go to flmedicaid.com and download our free book on Medicaid and planning for long-term care. I'm Sean Scott. I'm here to help.
My mom was getting older, but she was able to live pretty independently until recently. When her case manager told me she would be discharged from rehab in just a few days, I didn't know what to do. But I knew for sure that she couldn't go back living alone at home. So that's when I contacted Sunway's Senior Living Concierge. My Senior Living Concierge, Lisa, was there for me through the whole process and was a free service for us to compare in-home care options and how that cost would compare to assisted living. With Lisa's help, we found a great new home for Mom, and she is thriving. Take it from me, don't go through this journey alone.
Hi, I'm Ellie Baldwin, co-founder and president of Sunway's Senior Living Concierge. We're a free placement and concierge service for families to help compare senior living communities and find the best place for you or a loved one. Call us today at 727-314-6451 or find us online at sunwaysseniorliving.com.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
We had to go back, but we're back. So we have a couple of events coming up soon. We have Linda Burhans, that's me. On Thursday, March 20th, I'll be speaking at Arden Courts Memory Care on Highland Avenue in Largo. From burnout to balance, rediscovering joy, and I'm very entertaining, and they give a great lunch. You can RSVP at 727-543-8383. And I think we have about 35 RSVPs so far, so you might want to call soon. And then the day after, on Friday, March 21st, Dr. Peter Rabins, he is the author of The 36-Hour Day, which is like a Bible for Alzheimer's, but he's written some new books which are much nicer. They're not as dense. It's not too much. You know, he probably wrote the other book 25 years ago. Is it Alzheimer's 101? So that is Friday, March 21st from 10 to 1. And that will be at the Seminole City Parkview Room. So you can RSVP to Donna at 727-512-9925. Go to my website. You can sign up for my support groups live or in person. Also, my journaling workshop every month. Thanks so much for tuning in today. It's been a great show. Remember, God loves you all the time, and have a delicious day.